Before you start listening to my poop rapping, ask yourself this. Do you look similar to your parents? How about your siblings? Do you want to know why? Okay, I'll just take that as a yes. Just endure a few minutes of trash rapping. If you ain't gonna watch this whole video, just remember that it's all because of the genetics. But let's just stop talking like idiots and get into the scientific stuff like intermediates. Gregor Mendel was the guy who discovered all this. He says he was a monk, but let's not diss because he is a great father of genetics and he deserves more than just honorifics. Experimented with the height of some pea plants and cross-pollinated tall plants with short plants. There's something rather surprising, and if you want to know, please just keep on watching. After he did this, all the offspring were tall, although the parents were both big and small. And do you know what offspring really means? It is a result of reproduction of one or two parents who passed down their genes. The real surprise comes to the Filial 2 generation, which is 2 generations down from the peer parent generation. In the fifth generation, 3/4 were tall and 1/4 were short and small. To explain this, we gotta learn more about genetics, and I promise it'll be as easy as learning plate tectonics. So, genes are factors that control a trait, and is made up of 2 alleles or different forms of a gene, which is always the fate. When 2 different alleles meet, one from each parent, one is always dominant, and the other is masked, hidden, and sadly stagnant. The dominant allele is always written as a capital letter, and the recessive allele is written as a lowercase letter. When the dominant allele is present, the trait always shows up, of course, when there is no accident. But when a recessive allele is present with the dominant one, the recessive trait will show up and have some fun. To figure out the probability of a trait in the offspring, we usually use a 2x2 Punnett square, and it's quick and zing, but 2x2 is 4y4 offspring. In genetics, to make everything easy and computable, there are only 4 offspring. And talking about alleles, we can use some vocabulary because strings of letters is not always necessary. Heterozygous means a dominant allele and a recessive allele. Homozygous means 2 of the same allele. After the word homozygous, we put dominant or recessive to mark it if it's both dominant or both recessive. Also, in heterozygous, dominant traits always show up, while dominant traits in heterozygous dominant and recessive homozygotes. Now let's get back to the pea plant story, where the F1 generation dominant tall trait had glory over the recessive short traits, I was to say, but the F2 generation is where the questions lay. The F1 generation genotype was all big T and short T, aka heterozygous as scientists see. Just so you know, big T is for tall, and small t is for short and small. The F1 generation each donated one of their alleles to the F2 generation. It was random and no one knew the method of distribution, but solving a Punnett square, we can see that 3/4 will be tall and 1/4 will be short and midgety. And this is what really happened to Mendel's plants of pea. So now you can really see it was all because of their genetics, not because of robotics or freaky bionics. So since you know much about genetics, now you can find out why you look like you are now and how. And now you can blame your parents for your poor aesthetics, because really, it's because of your genetics.